I guess progress with this bike here is basically done. So it's a bicycle, so it has bicycle brakes. So with the engine on it, it's a bit too much for the brakes, so you can't really keep it wide open or anything like that, because you won't be able to stop very fast because it's got bike brakes on it. But then I could swap out this, I think it's a 140 millimeter router. Oh, it's a 160. Could swap this router out for a, whatchamacallit, 210 millimeter router. They make routers that big for bicycles, and then I'd have to get an adapter to make this work on that. Be a much bigger router to go up to there instead of there. That would be a significant improvement. But then, yeah, I got the pedals kind of welded up on this thing. Like that, I guess. Haven't knocked the last of the slag off of it. Gonna have to go over it with a little, like, tiny little wire comb brush or something like that to clean it up nice. But, yeah, it's still got all 3 gears here and all the gears back there. And then, yeah, 208. Not sure if the gas tank will fit back right here or not. If it doesn't, I got this some line here plumbed up so it could bolt up there or something, or right here. Wouldn't be that hard to make little mounting tabs for it. And then the muffler here didn't quite fit on with the shock being there, so I had to cut it and re-weld it. And yeah, for this motor here, being a high compression 208cc, it's got the 410 chain on it, I think, the bigger chain. And yeah, so it has a 10-tooth gear on this clutch, and this is a 60-tooth gear, and that just goes to the regular drivetrain on the bike. And you can literally turn this by hand, and the bike will go forward with little effort. So for the gearing it has, it should definitely move. But then whatever that's going to be like will be interesting if we get around to actually driving it. And I don't have a bike throttle for it, so I just used the center gear shifter, took it apart, re-geared it so it works as a throttle now. Yep, that was the gear shifter for the center gear. This is now the gear shifter for the center gear, and that's for the rear gears. And it's got a long lever on the front disc brake and a short one on the rear. But I guess the cool thing about having this motor on here is that you can tighten the brakes on the bike to the point where they're literally dragging a bit, so they're really stiff. So that way you'll know they are always going to work. When you go pull on them, they're not going to all of a sudden have no brake in them or whatever. But then this being this brake up here on the front end can easily be changed and stuff. So if you park it somewhere on the side of the road, somebody can walk up and twist it, loosen it, or whatever. So you got to check it every time you get on it. But whatever. Yeah. Boy. There's this piece is just welded to there or whatever, and then made a little gusset there or whatever it is. Yep, gonna have to paint it a little bit. Yeah. And then the oil drain is right there. Not sure if it's the engine's far back enough to get it out or not. Not sure, but this is probably far back enough where it'll let it drain, but it might not let the bolt out. I'm not sure though. Okay. And some of the welds on this look really bad, but I'll clean it up and see if any of them need to be redone. I used 1/16 and 3/32 inch 6011s to weld this all together. And yeah, the 1/16 6011s work really good at 40 amps on this thin stuff to make a base pass, so then when you use a 3/32 it doesn't burn through. Then the 3/32 obviously runs at 80 amps and the 1/16 runs at 40. So you get full penetration on all these. There's another one in there. That one looks pretty nice. If it focuses. Yeah, it won't focus. You can kind of see how I just cut the frame right here and right here, and this piece here was on the front of that over there, and then I just welded a piece of 11 gauge strip on each end, butt welded right here, and lap joint welded over there on each side, and yep. This took quite a few weeks to gather all the materials and tools to put this together. Took quite a while to get all the tools and material, but once I got to it, this is about the 4th day working on this thing. So managed to get this all together in about 4 days. Only most expensive thing on this bike was probably this gear here, because I had to go to one of the local fabrication shops, and one of the welders there took this gear that I had for a bicycle kit, and he welded a pipe to the thing, and he welded a cap on the end with a square hole, and it's all perfectly centered. Like, this is a big gear. The welder at the local fabrication shop welded a pipe to the gear, and then there's a square hole on the cap on there. That was about $150 or so, just to get this done, and they managed to get it in and done when they had free time, because they usually do really big projects, but being able to do like these little things and get them lined up, to get this lined up the way it is, it's like it has a square hole in the end of it. It's offset by 6 centimeters, and it's like perfectly centered, so the chain doesn't bind up or anything. That's really impressive. This gear that guy welded together. Yeah, and then I got a wheel with a disc brake on the back of this. I'm gonna have to weld a tab on the back of this so that another disc brake caliper can mount to there. And then might actually have to consider, after this or whatever, might actually consider looking into like thin or some kind of like motorcycle wheels, like legit motorcycle wheels with like that are made for motorcycles or whatever. See if I can get hold of any of those that might be able to fit on this thing. And the only shadiest thing on this entire bike is probably the shock mount extension here. It's not the welds on it that are bad, but it's held in by 4 tech screws, the ones that are like about that long, so they go right through the entire tube. And then the brake for the center shifter is just tech screwed on there. And yeehaw! Alright. Tested it on propane. It spun the back wheel fine at an idle. But it's a gas motor, so it won't run on propane too well. The ignition timing isn't proper for that. But yeah. Guess it cost me about, let's see, about $500 to put this together. So I was also considering making a electric bike, or putting one together. But for $500, this bike cost $100 from wherever I got it from. That little engine I bought used for $100. That gear I had made was $150. The disc brake wheels are about $100 a piece, so that's about $500 or so. Which this costs $500 basically, and compared to an electric bike kit, one looks a little more unwieldy and has a lot of power, and the other's more quiet and peaceful. Might not be able to drive this on the road because of certain laws and stipulations, but some people don't care. Yeah, might have to make a piece of pipe that welds to the end of this muffler and goes through a long tube like a silencer. Like if you know how a silencer baffles work for a rifle suppressor, I'm probably gonna make one of those, like a long one that goes down this entire length to make it run just a little bit quieter. Yeah. But there's snow on the ground. It's nice and icy outside. So that marks the start of winter. And this is done, so it's just gonna sit inside all winter probably. And unless if a big Chinook comes through and everything melts, then it's just gonna stay parked here. And that's gonna be the end of this for now.